How do you see yourself? We all have an image in our mind about ourselves. It's called the self image. And this self image makes up our reality. It makes up the hobbies we have, the friends we make, the career we want to build in our life. We don't notice how much this self image affects our life. So, a lot of us, we got poor self images of ourselves. We have an abundance of bad perception about ourselves, about our identity. You don't lack anything. You don't lack confidence. You don't lack social skills. You don't lack none of that. Just our abundance of negative thoughts cloud us from the skills that we can have, that confidence that we can have. Yo, how y'all boys feeling? How y'all doing? How y'all coming? Just breathe back in the chat. We back. Today I got a nice little video for y'all. It's about our self image and why we get stuck just in life in general. It's bigger than rap. Without further ado, let's get into it. So once you fully understand this concept called self-image, you can really transform your reality, transform your life. The things that you thought you couldn't do before, you're going to be able to do. You're going to be able to break those limits, those shackles that you held on your mind. All right, so it was this doctor back in the day. His name was Maxwell Maltz. He had discovered this concept of self-image. So back in the day, he was a plastic surgeon. He was fixing people's faces, fixing people's body. And he started looking into psychology because he noticed some interesting things. He noticed when he had made changes to people who were overconscious about how they look, like fix their wrinkles, maybe their nose, maybe their lips. He would basically just cut them up and make them look right. He would fix them, you feel me? And he had two type of patients after that. He had the first patient who would love the way they looked. Their whole entire character would change just based off the facts that a little bit of cut, snip made them look a little bit better. They would become more eccentric. They'll become more outgoing. They'll just have this confidence boost. Their self image that they think of themselves would just be boosted. It was like a transformation. But on the other hand, the other patient, they would still think that they were ugly, although that my boy Maltz, he had cut them up and fixed them, made them look decent. They would still think they're ugly because the image they had inside their head of themselves was just so bad that it couldn't see the changes. They would think that he didn't change anything. Although they objectively looked better, they still wouldn't believe it. They'll call him a quack. They'll call him a bad doctor. They had such a strong self-image of themselves that it remained post-operation. Although the physical features changed, the self-image remained constant. So after that, Dr. Maltz, he had figured out that we got two ways that we see ourselves. The first way is the exterior. You look in the mirror, look at your physical, you know how you look. And the second way is the inner, you feel me? That self-image that you see yourself as. It's not just how you look in the mirror, it's just how you truly see yourself, how you truly feel about yourself. Dr. Maltz wrote a book called Psycho-Cybernetics, and this is really what I'm going to be explaining today. The actual definition of self-image is a subconscious framework for how you see life and yourself. What you believe, think, and feel is true. Every single belief that you have is a part of your self-image. It's not only what you think about yourself, but what you think about what is possible. These are your limiting beliefs. If you think you can own a mansion one day or have $100,000 a year, if you truly can believe that, then that's part of your self-image. But if you can't believe that, then that pathway of reality, it gets blocked off. It can't happen. You not even being able to envision yourself being that $100,000 a year earner will never be possible unless it somehow magically falls into your hands. And even if it does, then you may go off and mess it up. If you see yourself as safe, conservative, then you're probably not gonna go bungee jumping. You're probably not gonna go skydiving because you care for your life. You feel me? That's just out of your mindset. You're not gonna do that. The only way you're gonna do that is if like you drunk or something. You may say it's the alcohol that made you do it, but you truly wanted to do that regardless. Just the liquor, it blurred the consequences that you think may be imposed once you did that action. Most of the time, these consequences are made up in your head. For regular things like doing a little bit, being a little bit more outgoing, being a little bit more outspoken, that liquor enhances that. But you in your sober mindset, you view the consequences as this person may not like me. This person is probably judging me. But those consequences get blurred once you get that liquor in your system, you feel me? Liquor just lets you perform to your truest expression. You really wanted to do this stuff. You just use that liquor as an excuse, no cap. We have a mental map, a mental model of how we see the world, and it's all subconscious for the most part. We have a mental map, a mental model for how we view the world, and it's all subconscious for the most part. 90% of our actions are subconscious. We're not thinking about the actions that we're taking while we're taking them. We don't even realize how many assumptions we make every day. We make so many assumptions about how we view the world, about people, about society, about our own life, about our own image. These assumptions are formed unconsciously. They form when you're growing up with your parents, friends, society. Everything or person that you come across builds these assumptions. Once you burn your hand once on a hot stove, your body unconsciously lets you know not to do that again. You feel me? Don't get near heat or you're gonna get burnt. You learn your lesson. And this goes beyond just burning your hand. This goes for everything in the world. Once you encounter a problem one time, once that lesson is learned, it's engraved in your mind, you feel me? And unconsciously, you make sure you avoid that problem, even if it may not be a real problem. Think about self-image like a snowball rolling down a hill. It starts off small, harmless, you know? But once it starts rolling, starts getting that momentum, every memory, comment, and comparison sticks to it. After a while of it rolling down the hill, all them comments, all them memories that you have, they start compacting. And the snowball starts to eventually get bigger and bigger. Powerful enough to shape what you do and where you move. That snowball is just sitting in your subconscious. You may only see bits and pieces of it, but you don't see the grand scheme. It gets compacted into this one ball that we call self-image. And this one ball, this self-image, it determines all your actions. Like I said, 90% of your actions are subconscious. So the results in your life, they reflect that. To find the self-image you hold about yourself, look at the external aspects of your life. Look at the results you're getting with your body, with your income, with your relationships, position in work, personal appearance. Just look at these external factors. These are just the outer expressions of your inner image. Think about your mind and body like a thermostat. This thermostat is a metaphor for your comfort zone. So say you got your thermostat, you like your temperature to be 70 degrees, you feel me? You just a 70-degree type of guy. Most of us, we have goals that are larger than our self-image. Our self-image is here, but our goals, we look into the sky. And that's why most of us, we don't achieve our goals because they're far-fetching. And we only achieve them unless we make great change, like changing our self-image, changing how we see ourselves. And this 70 degrees is what we comfortable with right now. You know, we just cooling. We cool with this 70-degree amount of money, amount of relationship, you know, amount of work. It's not your goal, but it's what's regular. It's what you're used to. And say something happens like, and the temperature just drops a little bit down to like 65 degrees. You remember that I'm this 70-degree type of guy. What's going on? So you start turning up the heat. You start getting a drive to go do better. You feel me? Get back to where you are. Get back to the person you know, that 70-degree type of guy. So you go and try and do your goals. You try, and it doesn't work. And after a while, you keep on trying, and it still doesn't work. So guess what we do? We lower our expectations. Instead of this 70-degree type of guy, we lower it down to a 65-degree type of guy. We make our goals smaller. We make them more realistic. We lower our expectation. We try not to get our hopes up in order to avoid disappointment. We hate being disappointed. Us as a human, we hate to be disappointed, especially in ourselves. So now you think, maybe I'm not a 70-degree type of guy, you know. Now I'm a 65-degree type of guy. And then you look at the people who are 70-degree type people, and you think that they're full of themselves. You know, they're just workaholics, and that you're playing it smart. You're cutting your losses. You want more balance in your life. And this cycle keeps on happening. You go from 65 to 62 to 58 to 55. You went from having a gold badge to having a bronze badge. And once you drop from 70 to 55, you think you still hanging around with the people who are 70-degree type people? Nay, you don't hang with them people. You hang with the people who like the 55 degrees. That's your group now. You got to remember, you're the average of your circle. Those people who were doing 70-degree type activities, that's not what you align with no more. So you're not gonna be doing that. You're gonna be doing what the 55-degree type people doing. Be that smoking, be that drinking, be that doing nothing to go forward in life, to be productive. You're doing that. Once you drop the habits and the goals that you had when you was a 70-degree type guy, the friends, the 70-degree type people that you was friends with, they cease to exist as well. We don't pit ourselves with people that we find lesser than us to a extreme extent. No one wants to hang around with people better than them, and no one wants to hang around with people that are below them. Although sometimes we do pick average friends to hang around with so we don't feel so bad about ourselves. We feel better about ourselves. That's why so many people like to watch reality TV, because you basically getting a view into another person's life. You feel me? And now you're thinking, my life not as bad as theirs, so I gotta be doing something right. Or I'm at least cooling for right now. You know, look at these people on TV. But since you clicked on the King's video, I know you're not like that. You're the type of person that you a 70-degree type guy. And then once you hit 65 degrees, you try it again to get to back to where you need to be. You feel me? Back to your regular state. You don't settle for anything. You keep on going. And once you finally climb your way back up 70, you don't stop. You keep on going. You keep on grinding. You get up to 73, 76, you feel me? Then you get up to 80. Then you get 82, 85. Then you get to 89. And you start reaching the 90s, you feel me? Now you're a 90 overall. And then you start creeping up in the 90s. You hit 91, 92, 93. Something in your brain clicks. It tells you that you don't like 90 degrees. You don't like when it's that hot out. You don't mess with that. You like when it's 70 degrees. You like when it's nice and comfortable. So all that progress that you made to get to 90 degrees, you start to decline because your brain wants to go back to that state, that homeostasis. It wants to go back to its regular temp. You realize that you out of your comfort zone, so you unconsciously start self-sabotaging yourself and stop doing all the habits, the goals that got you there. And now you end up back exactly where you started at. 70 degrees. Just look around. Look at all the people you done seen sabotage themselves. It's easier to see it from outside the cage. The strongest force in human personality is being consistent with how we view ourselves. To be consistent with how we perceive ourselves. The image we hold about ourselves, it determines our successes and failures in every aspect of our life. What we believe to be true is what we align our behaviors with. Our personalities, our habits, our behaviors are aligned with what we believe to be true. And even if it is false, we still operate with that mindset, with that belief that it's true. A belief is believed to be true by yourself, by you. A lot of the things that make up your self-image are false and they keep you stuck. We act consistent with who we believe we are. So let's say you're overweight. You don't want to talk about it with nobody because that's not comfortable. That's a sensitive topic. Until one day you look yourself in the mirror and be like, I just need to make a change, bro. I need to hit that gym. I need to start that diet. I got to lose this weight. I want to get me a girlfriend or a boyfriend. So guess what you do? You go on a diet, you feel me? You join the gym. Although you probably don't really go, but you join. That matters. And guess what? You start to lose weight. You know why you lose the weight? It's because you start starving yourself. You start not eating anything. You don't eat sugar. You don't eat no white. You don't eat nothing sweet. You don't eat no chocolate. You don't eat no snacks. You stop everything. But when you see people who go about it this way, go about dieting and fitness without changing their self-image, just watch them. You will see them lose the weight and then gain it right back. Whatever weight you've lost, your body's literally programmed to find what you lost and to get it back. When you step on that scale and you see an unfamiliar number, a very low number, your body unconsciously, subconsciously, it thinks, that's not me. That's not the person that I know. That's not the me I know. And that I don't deserve this. We become self-prisoners of our own self-image. Remember, we act consistent with who we believe we are. Smokers, people who love to smoke, they know that smoking is bad for them, and they know the way to stop smoking. I mean, you just don't spark up, you don't light up, you don't roll up. But their image of themselves is that they know that they're a smoker. They think that they're a smoker. But let me tell you something. You were not born a smoker. First time somebody passed you the wood, passed you the cigarette, passed you the vape, you hit it, and guess what? Your body instantly rejected it. You feel me? You probably started coughing. You probably said, "Nah, I can't take this no more." But guess what? Your friends, your people around you, they was like, "Some, you little ma, ooh, you can't even keep up." You feel me? So guess what? You kept on smoking, trying to build that tolerance, try to make that cough go away, until you finally did make it go away. And now you just keep on smoking, not feeling that cough, not feeling that rejection until you get hooked on it. You feel me? You need it now. You became so good at it that you can't go without it. So now you identify yourself as a smoker, since now you smoking every day, since now you need to smoke to cope with your day, to go through the day. Your body is acclimated with smoke now. And you know it's not good for you. Just now you can't stop. We know exactly what it takes to better our lives, to transform. How to isn't the complicated part. But by human nature, we first go to look for the how to. We look for how to do things. When you want to lose weight, you look up how to lose weight. What's the best diet to lose weight? But let me tell you something. Deep down, you already know. The answer is not that hard. It's about doing it. It's about the action and sticking with it. And the first way to fix this stuckness that you're feeling, you got to dig inside. You got to dig into your self-image. So first, ask yourself, what do you see yourself as being? What your life reflects, thoughts reflect. You think that these negative perceptions of you is just you being real about yourself. You calling yourself ugly, trying to be realistic. I'm bad at math because I've got all the evidence to prove that I failed my math test. I sucked at math while I was in school. I'm not very good at mental math. Who knows truly if you're good or not at math, you feel me? But now that you had that perception in your mind that you're bad at math, how do you think that's going to affect you in math? You literally encoded that you're bad at math into your self-image. So now how would your life reflect that? When you go and take that math test with the idea that you suck at math, what are the odds of you really passing that? When you go and try to talk to that girl with the you being awkward encoded into your brain, into your self-image, are you even going to walk up? Are you even going to take that risk to go and potentially maybe get rejected? You're probably not even going to get rejected, but you're not even going to go and take that chance to go see how it's coming. We have these self-fulfilling prophecies about ourselves. That's just a prediction that comes true, at least in part of a result that prediction would be true. We tend to act the way that we expected to make those expectations become true. We like to avoid disappointment. And listen, sometimes our self-image is so bad, so strong, that you're literally listening to this video thinking like what this guy is saying is just simply not true. That stuff I'm telling you, they're coming up with every reason as to discredit what I'm saying. So everything I'm telling you is going through one ear and out the other. Some of the real world examples of these limited beliefs is having a failure mindset. You think you always gonna fail. You think that you was just born a failure. Maybe your parents was telling you that you was a failure growing up. Now that mindset is imprinted on you. Maybe that you're just a victim. Look around, it's a lot of people with victim mentalities. They always think somebody's out to get them, that they're just a victim. And you can never be a winner if you're a victim. People think that they're shy. I used to be one of them. I used to think that I was an introvert. I used to think that I was to myself and I was for the better. Until I just realized that me thinking like that was keeping me stuck from the things and the opportunities that I wanted to live. Me being shy was stopping me from doors that should have been open from the jump. You weren't always shy when you were a kid. You literally probably used to run around and scream and just give your fullest expression to the world. Your personality when you was younger just simply wasn't tampered with yet, because you were ignorant to what this world really is and all the expectations that get put on everybody's shoulders all day. So once you step into the world, once you really understand something, you start building these assumptions that maybe it's best I stay to myself. Maybe it's best I don't talk to that girl, as so I don't get rejected. Because you think back when you asked for something before, maybe from your mom or your dad, they said no. And now that rejection is rooted deeply into that snowball we were talking about, into your self image. So you don't even want to take that risk to get rejected. You don't even want to put yourself in a position to get rejected. So you just cut it off at all costs. That's what I used to do. I used to think that rejection was the end of the world. Some people, they're alcoholics and they think it's just genetic. They think, oh, well, hey, I got a lot of people in my family that's alcoholics, so hey, apple doesn't fall too far from the tree. But no, you could change that. Don't let your DNA fix your reality. Break free from that. You're different, so be different. Some people think money's hard to get, or maybe it's easy to get. If you think it's hard to get, then you avoid things like job applications. That's like your kryptonite, you feel me? And once you finally do land a job, you move so sluggish and think, oh my God, I gotta working so hard, that you end up losing a job. When you think it's too easy, money's too easy to get, you just blow it, you feel me? You just go through it, because you'll get it back. Money comes and goes. Money's meant to be earned so it could be spent. Sometimes some of us think that life's just unfair, and that any little small thing that happens to you is just because life's just unfair. Like, it's just so hard. Although life is a little bit hard, that's just part of the game called life. So stop noticing so much of the hard parts, but also notice the good parts. Look at the glass as half full instead of half empty, and that's gonna change your perspective on how you view life. Earlier this week, I heard one of my friends call himself ugly. I was so flabbergasted at the fact that he considered himself ugly, because why are you even saying that? Why would you even fix your lips to say that, even if you thought it was true? If you think that you're ugly, that's just gonna, why would you think that you're ugly? This is the body that you spawned in with, bro. So you gotta love it as if it was your body. Love it as if it was your own. Do not disrespect the creation that you are, because that's who you are. And if you want to go get plastic surgery like my boy Maltz's patients, feel me, that's not going to change anything. That image of yourself that you have ingrained into your mind, even if you do change up something, even if you do get a nicer haircut, even if you do something, that self-image is going to hold you back and still think that you ugly. You feel me? A lot of people think, like, let me go get some money. You feel me? That's going to, even if I am ugly, even if I do have some hardship going on, as long as I got money, it's going to change. But you hear this saying a lot, that money doesn't unlame you. And that is very true. Regardless of all the external factors that you gather, if your self-image is still crappy, if it's still dog water, literally dog water, kid, then that's not going to change anything. All the external factors is going to be a cover. It's just going to be a mask to your true self. If you only have external possessions to offer, then you're going to only attract superficial people. You feel me? Real people see through that real quick. You're going to get the people who only want you for what you have, those external worldly desires. And I know a lot of these things, you like some, they sound illogical, they sound foolish, but that's what a lot of this self-image stuff is. It's stuff that we think may be dumb, so we don't even look too hard into it. I'm still thinking about how my homie called himself ugly. The reparations behind feeling that you ugly. If you go into a relationship thinking that you're ugly, you may have never even thought to yourself that you're ugly, but subconsciously you think that you're chopped. And sometimes relationship problems stem from this factor that you just think that you chopped up. And the problems is coming from the fact that you need this external validation from your partner. All these compliments, showering you with compliments to tell you that you look good. And then at times when they don't, when they look past it and don't think too hard about it, it becomes a problem for you, because you're literally feeding off these compliments. So you get angry, so you get passive aggressive. And This little small thing that your partner didn't even realize becomes a whole big thing. And once that happens one too many times, y'all start separating. It's really bigger than rap. Start nagging about wanting more affection. You start nagging about wanting more affection, more love, more attention. And you are literally driving your partner away. But this is something that you need. You need to feed your image. You need to feed this falsehood that you're trying to build because you know you're chopped. But you're not chopped, bro. You're not chopped, gang. Stop thinking like that. I'm talking to you. And now we spoke a lot about all the extra stuff. Now I'm about to speak on how you could change this. One way you can is coaching. You feel me? That's to help you find the real traits of your self-image. Coaching can help. They could ask you the right questions to point it out, or you can start journaling. Just write down how you feel. Write down what you really truly feel. You feel me? A lot of us, we don't get out our real raw emotion ever. And if we do get out our real raw emotion, then it's not a good sight. Like, we need to get it out before it gets to that 10. Like I talked about in them breathing videos. Don't let it get to a 10. Try to get it out. Try to let it out when you more so like at a 5. You feel me? At a 6. Please understand that trying to transform your self-image takes persistence. You got to keep going at it. Changing your self-image takes about 21 days. You got to go 21 days straight to rewire your brain. Now I know that 21 days sounds familiar. Sounds a lot like how much time it takes to fix a habit. You feel me? Make a habit. Those two go hand in hand. So now I need you to go ahead, literally, go grab a pen and paper and write out the life that you want to live, bro. Write it out. Alright, now I need you to sit down and just breathe. You feel me? Relax. Take some deep breaths in. Like I told y'all. Now, in your mind, build an image of the person that you want to be. The person that's maxing out his potential, his or her potential. The person that you truly desire to be. Be that in life and work and relationships. Take that picture that you're building in your head, that you're visualizing, and put it into words. Go write it down. Go write it down on a paper. Go write it down in a notebook. Go write it down in a journal. And write it in the present tense. So instead of, I want to be a big earner, I want to be extroverted, say I'm extroverted. I make tons of money. It may seem a little bit goofy, but you need to take these precautions as to rewire your brain. This is not a fire drill. This is the real thing. And read this description of how you want to see yourself. Read it all the time. Read it every day. Just have a little note. Just read it. You feel me? You just want to get this self-image, this new image into your mind. You want to start rooting it deeply into your mind. Please understand that we become what we think about. It may seem like a fantasy. It may seem like a lie. But if you reading this every day, then it has no choice but to become true. Once you believe in your belief, it becomes fact. Like I was saying earlier, even if what your belief is false, it's still true to you. And that's all that matters. And once you start doing this, or once you see other people doing this, you'll literally see their personality transform. That self-image is really that cage that's holding you back. That's why you feel stuck. So after you write it out, you feel me? It's probably some things that you know you could work on. So I just need y'all to do one thing. Pick one of those things. One of them ideas that you normally don't ever do, don't ever work on, and just do it. Try it out. Be that going to talk to a random, going to talk to a stranger, going to just ask questions, like literally just ask a question. If you feel curious about something, speak. And once you do this, your mind is going to go from I can't do this to I just did this. And that's just the start of you altering your self-image. And speaking personally, one thing that would really I'm not rocking with, that would low-key just hunt me to the grave of me, bruh, is if I were to have to meet the person I would have been if I lived up to my potential. So I just go every day trying to max out all my badges and live up to the potential. Ask yourself, who do I have to be to live up to my potential? And that's it for y'all boys. I hope y'all stay smooth.